Boy, it's certainly good to be back home, albeit for a short amount of time. Interleague play rolls on, and both of these teams going toe-to-toe tonight. Really the story of the American League, the story of the National League. Both have been looking at first place a lot this year. The Cleveland Indians going toe-to-toe with the Arizona Diamondbacks at Monument Park. A pretty shot there. Let's take a look at the standings. Both trying to climb back to the top of that monument, which is first place. Arizona a game and a half back of San Francisco, a 4-2 trip to Kansas City and Detroit, and Cleveland getting swept in San Francisco, trying to catch the Detroit Tigers. Hi, folks. It's good to be back home. This is Mark Grace. My name is Darren Sutton. Glad you are with us tonight. Now, when you talk about both of these teams, both of them were in baseball's Final Four in 2007. Right. Both in their respective championship series, both in 08 and 09, and last year really struggled mightily. They both put it back together pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think the reason why they did, Darren, is pretty simple. All of a sudden, they've got some really good pitching. The Diamondbacks have gotten a lot of good pitching from their starters, especially the guy throwing tonight. That would be Ian Kennedy. The Indians, on the other hand, they've done it with a mighty bullpen. If they've got the lead after 5 innings, the Indians bring it home. So, really, it's no secret. These teams have gotten a lot better because they've pitched a lot better.
All right, let's start with Ian Kennedy then. Since you mentioned him, Ian is pitching for my money, for his teammates and for himself tonight, but also pitching for those choosing for the All-Star game, I think.
Well, you look at his numbers in his last 13 starts. I don't know if there's been anybody better, Darren, including some of the household names, if you will. Ian Kennedy, all he has done is gone out and pitched superb baseball since mid-April, and he's a big reason why the Diamondbacks are just looking at the Giants, and they're just right there. They can almost grab them.
Well, they're trying to do the same thing with Cleveland, and helping to do the grabbing is the bullpen. Now, to be honest with you, we like to research and get prepared, but we're National League guys, and we found a bullpen with a Sip, a couple of Perez's, a Pastano. All we know is that this is the best bullpen in the American League.
That's exactly right, and they're certainly not household names. But by the time this series is over, folks, you're going to know each and every one of those young men on your screen. And you know what? I'm looking forward to bringing it to the folks here in Arizona, because even a lot of baseball people don't know a lot about this Indian bullpen other than they're awfully good.
I'll tell you what, I talked to Mr. Pastano before the game. They have a lot of pride in how they go about their business. They like being the plain wrap, no-name bullpen.
Sure.
They rally around that call. We're certainly glad to have you with us. And you know, Arizona pitchers are learning from a former Indian. When we come back, we'll talk about a man who won a lot of big games in the heart of America in Cleveland, Ohio, Charles Nagy, Diamondbacks pitching coach. When we come back, Brad, he'll tackle that subject. To you by Gila River Casinos. Play slots with your Players Club card at any Gila River Casino. You can win up to $20,000 right away. Right now, get to your neighborhood Circle K and pick up an 18-pack of Budweiser, Bud Light, or Michelob Ultra. For just $13.99, you'll score 2 tickets to any upcoming D-backs game this season. And by Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats. No blackout dates.
And welcome back to D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Ian Kennedy going for his 9th win of the season as the D-backs open up a very short 3-game homestand as interleague play continues against the Cleveland Indians. You know, Kirk Gibson has made it pretty clear he really likes the coaching staff he has assembled this year with this team, and one of the big parts of that coaching staff is pitching coach Charles Nagy. Of course, Nagy best known for the 13 years he spent with the Cleveland Indians, some remarkable seasons with them. 3 All-Star games. He pitched in a couple of World Series, 129 wins overall. It's our Geico quote of the game. Charles says that Cleveland will always hold a special place in his heart.
I see some old familiar faces. You know, I got so many friends over there that were there when I first got there, and they're still there now. Clubhouse kids, you know, front office people, and you know, I still have a special relationship with them and with the city of Cleveland. You know, they always hold a you know, a big place in my heart, and a lot of fond memories, and it's just exciting to see him across the dugout.
And one of the big parts of Charles Nagy's staff is Ian Kennedy. He's looking to rack up a record of 9-2, the D-backs. And the Cleveland Indians next on Fox Sports Arizona. Darren Sutton, Mark Grace at the call.
Know about the triple digits. Summer has officially arrived, high up to 114 degrees. Aren't we glad we are indoors here at gorgeous Chase Field? And aren't we glad we all get to watch, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, or better said, just a fan of pitching, Ian Kennedy take the bump. Manny Acta, much like Kirk Gibson, a guy who manages with an edge, who communicates with his players, and this year has his team in a very surprising spot. And he has done so battling through some injuries. We know about Shin-Soo Choo, who will be out for some time, probably have to have surgery. But 2 great stories. Let's play some baseball. A fun 3-game set. Ian Kennedy goes to work back home at strike 1 over the outside corner to Michael Brantley.
Kennedy's last start, he was worked very hard by the Kansas City Royals, but he still found a way to put together 6 innings and only give up 1 run.
And when you say worked hard, how do you mean?
Well, the Kansas City Royals were pesky with him. They were very difficult to strike out. They fouled off pitch after pitch after pitch, worked his pitch count up into the over 100, and he had to be removed because, well, he was tired.
The Arizona Ford dealer numbers very good for Kennedy. 8 wins, 2 losses, a 2.90 ERA. He's in the top 10 in the National League in ERA. He's in the top 10 in innings pitched. So he really takes the baseball for this club. Michael, the son of former big leaguer Mickey Brantley, if you remember him, as that one is inside. 2-2 the count.
I played against Mickey Brantley. He had some good years up with the Seattle Mariners. He could hit.
I remember him certainly as well. 2-2 the count as Kennedy rocks and fires. There's the changeup. That's strike 3. So Brantley goes down on strikes. And he does so for the 43rd time this year.
Well, if you can remember the pitch before the fastball in, that fastball in was to set up that changeup right there. You show him the fastball in, you're thinking, oh man, I got to be quick to get to that ball. Then you throw that beautiful changeup, and it's usually going to result in strike 3.
So Cord Phelps was called to the major leagues about 2 weeks ago. Very similar to the call-up of Lonnie Chisenhall, who we'll see in a bit. Phelps, a top prospect. He is here. He singles into center field. And that's just his 38th major league at bat, hitting about 220 now. Let's take a look at the entire lineup for these Cleveland Indians. As Drupal Cabrera is a treat to watch. Carlos Santana is at first. Travis Hafner just can't play the position, which is a shame for those fans here in Arizona. Grady Sizemore is struggling. Travis Buck, Lonnie Chisenhall making his major league debut. A great catcher in Lou Marson. And Mitch Talbot is behind the plate. And there he is. He didn't sleep last night. He flew on a morning flight, gained a few hours on the clock when he flew out from Columbus, as that one is lifted as Drupal Cabrera, deep left field, going back to the wall is Parra, and it's gone. Very quietly, one of the game's best shortstops. 13 homers, 46 RBIs for Cabrera.
And Ian Kennedy learning awfully quick. Back-to-back first pitch fastballs in the middle of the plate. 1 base hit, 1 homer. So these Indians, they realize this guy's got a good changeup he likes to use late in the count. So they're coming out very feisty early in the count.
Gerardo Parra tried to climb the wall. Carlos Santana, as that one is inside. Well, they weren't able to do much in San Francisco. They were swept by the Giants. They were frustrated by the conditions. They were frustrated by AT&T Park and the great pitching that they see. And when they shared that with those of us that are around the Diamondbacks, we said, well, we're used to that 3 trips in every year.
Giants do that to everybody.
The 1-1 is a fastball in. Here is Parr doing everything he can to get as high as he can on that wall.
It still had plenty of distance.
5 or 6 feet beyond that. Changeup up at the letters. 2-2 the count. The Indians wrapped up a 6-game homestand against the Pirates and the Rockies. They went 4-2, and now they head out on the road. They are the only team that back-to-back years from the American League has had a 3-city National League trip. And if you have a true designated hitter like Travis Hafner, I mean a true designated hitter, just doesn't play a position, you lose him for 9 straight days.
Yeah, it's very strange that a major league player, major league baseball player, can't grab some kind of a glove and go out there and give you at least 1 or 2 games, especially when you're as dangerous offensively as Travis Hafner.
Beat him with a fastball in. Good pitch. 2-2 the count. 2-0 the Indians lead it.
But a lot of teams have players like that. Back in the days I played, and still to this day. You know, Big Papi over in Boston, David Ortiz is not going to play in the. There's the changeup again.
Let's take a look defensively at the Arizona Diamondbacks, and it's brought to you by David Robleski and Associates. Very good outfield with Parra, Young, and Upton covering the ground. It's Roberts, Drew, Johnson. Juan Miranda gets the start at first, and behind home plate, Miguel Montero, battery mates with Ian Kennedy. And so Juan Miranda out there at the first sack. Willie Mo Pena, in a much smaller scale. Travis Hafner's been doing it for a long time, but he will watch for 3 days. He will be a pinch hitter and then will be the designated hitter in the 3 days in Oakland. And then I think it's safe to say that Willie Mopena's future is right back up in the air.
I don't think that's. Yeah, that's very well said. We'll see.
Broke his bat. Base hit. Grady Sizemore coming back from microfracture knee surgery. Very serious knee surgery. Started out hot this year and is trying to piece it together. They can't piece that bat back together.
Another scary fracture there of another bat. Just in on him, and there goes.
Boy, he had some special seasons for many years, didn't he?
He sure did. Then the knee surgery, and just hasn't been the same ever since.
They hate it for a player like that. In his last
an
24
all-star,
games,
absolutely.
He's hitting just a little bit over 200. Here's Travis Buck. Over the inside corner.
That was that cut fastball that Ian Kennedy's brought to the mound this year.
Kennedy has thrown 17 pitches to start the inning. 2 outs, 2-0 the score. The Indians lead it. Bouncing ball right to Miranda, right to the bag.
D-backs got work to do.
They got a lot of work to do. We were going to spend some time introducing you to Asdrubal Cabrera. He didn't give us a chance. First pitch he saw. 2-0. Diamondbacks. The first inning has been a bugaboo for this man on the mound, Mitch Talbot. Let's take a look at the Arizona starting lineup. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's Kelly, it's Steven, it's Justin Upton, who has been special to watch the last 6 weeks. Chris Young, Miguel Montero, Ryan Roberts continuing to grind it out. Miranda Parra and Ian Kennedy. We will know early on, the Indians folks say, about Talbot and how he is able to get it done. He's 27 years old. He's a Utah native. Bounced around from Houston to Tampa and now to Cleveland as he sinks it in there. 1-1 the count. But his first inning has been the biggest struggle. He has an ERA of 10 in the first. He's given up 9 runs in his 8 first innings. So we'll see.
And you're going to see a lot of that, a lot of movement away from left-handed hitters. Yeah, after the first inning, he's pretty rock solid.
Big, tall right-hander. Houston's #2 pick in 2002. Outside.
It's a really good take there by Kelly Johnson. That ball was on the plate the whole way, and then some late movement took it off the plate. Johnson was able to lay off of it. 3-1.
The 3-1 is outside. It's ball 4. Defensively for the Tribe, let's take a look about the field, where we'll see Michael Brantley, Grady Sizemore, and Travis Buck. On the infield, We'll see Lonnie Chisenhall making his Major League debut. Over across the way, Court Phelps is just about as new. Cabrera and Santana in between the two of them, and Lou Marson is behind the plate. Lonnie Chisenhall at about 1 o'clock, 1:30 this afternoon with the roof open, walked out, walked around third base. Stood there for a while before he went out to shag. So pretty firm down here. So, yeah, it is. It's the desert, as that one misses outside. 1-0 the count. But got to his hotel room at about 9:30 in the morning, because you take a morning flight and you gain 3 hours, as you know. And he finally was able to close his eyes for a couple of hours.
I don't know if I'd be able to sleep on my Major League debut.
He didn't sleep the entire night before. The 1-0. 1-1 the count. Taking a look at the season numbers for Mitch Talbot. This is his 9th Major League start, a 4.91 ERA. The opponent's hitting .320 against him, as you can see. One and one the count. Steven drives that one into right center field. Diving attempt, it's down, and it's past him. We are off to the races at Chase. Here comes Kelly Johnson. Drew into third. They will stop him. A huge gamble by Grady Sizemore, and he got torched 2-1.
Fastball in. Stephen Drew just drills it as Talbot misses his spot. And as you said, a big chance right there taken by Grady Sizemore. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he probably makes that play. But it gets by. 1 run's in. And Stephen Drew, we're used to seeing him hit triples. He scampers to third again.
Stephen adds to that triple total, and we're used to it. That is 5 this year. Here is Justin Upton. Upton first pitch swinging, fly ball right field. It's a long run for Bucky. Still coming. Still coming. That's in there for a fair ball. Justin thinks about the turn. We're tied at 2. Just like that, we are tied at 2. They were playing Upton very deep. You could tell he was just going to make contact, put that ball in play somewhere, and a pitch out and away. You know what? A little bit of luck doesn't hurt either.
No, when you're hot and you're strong, outfielders have to play you deep. And that one gets down, and Travis Buck plays it on a hop. So now we got ourselves a little shootout here.
Well, it's right back to nothing. I mean, here we go, and this pitcher who has hated the first inning continues to despise it.
Well, it all started with a leadoff walk. Your team goes out and scores you 2 runs in the top of the first, and you come out and walk the leadoff man. It just sets a terrible tone.
Fastball sails in, really was underneath that one. Cleveland has come back to earth since their hot start. And when you start the season and take it into May the 23rd, they had 30 wins, winning 67% of the time, both first in the big leagues. Since May the 24th, they've won 10 times. And they've won just a third of their games. That's 28th in the major leagues. So in certain spots, they're leaking a little bit of oil right now. 42 runs batted in for Young. 7 hits on the road trip as that one sails inside. 2-0 the count. Well, they're just not biting. They're not interested in stuff that's moving out of the zone.
After Kelly Johnson scored on the Stephen Drew triple, he came back to Justin Upton and kind of gestured with his hands the type of movement you're going to see. You're going to see it running away, and for Justin Upton running in on you.
Belted, left field, well struck, off the wall, Upton into third. Matt Williams with the stop sign, another extra base hit for Chris Young. His 22nd double of the season.
Well, Mitch Talbot's going to learn a very valuable lesson if he hadn't already. You better throw strikes, because if you fall behind 2-0 to Chris Young, and you have to come to the middle of the plate, you're going to get drilled. Belt high right down Broadway. Chris Young hit it on a line right off the center of the wall. Diamondbacks, 4 batters. 2 have scored, and 2 are sitting there on the pond now for Miguel Montero.
Miguel Montero had 6 hits and 19 at-bats on the recent trip. Trip that saw the Diamondbacks go 4-2 in Kansas City and Detroit. Miguel fights that fastball off that was in on his hands. Folks making their way in. There is a lot to see now with this team. And it's just a 3-game set. If you're not on your way out the door or coming on down tonight, there's just 2 more games here. Tomorrow night and then day game Wednesday.
Gone.
Till after the All-Star game. This club that has been in a dogfight for first place this season. 0-1 the count to Montero. No balls and 2 strikes. Now this is where we look for some sort of put away, and this is where they say that Talbot battles it. And for some reason, with a good changeup, which he does possess, or he has shown, 429 is what left-handers hit against him. It's a lot of extra base hits for Young as he stands out there at second. Off speed is outside. You're talking about sometimes video doesn't always work. Sometimes
watch
this.
Kelly Johnson tell Justin Upton, and then now watch Chris Young. Hey, now watch his hand. Yeah, he's turning it over. He's turning it over. That's a good scouting report.
Out to short. Justin's coming on home. It's an RBI for Miguel Montero, and for Miguel, who is erased, that's 40 runs batted in. And the Diamondbacks lead 3-2. You don't think Ian Kennedy will respond to this?
Well, you hope he does. Justin Upton scores, and that's all it takes. Put the ball in play with 2 strikes. Nice 2-strike hitting there by Miguel Montero. Getting the run in there. That'll make his manager happy. He was a little surly after losing those last 2 games.
He didn't enjoy those, and it was an emotional time in Michigan with a lot of family around. Certainly that's always challenging to make time for family. And Roberts takes a pitch low. I think whenever you lose someone you care about, the loss of his sister-in-law kind of prioritizes everything. So I think his emotional tank was drained pretty good.
I like surly Gibby.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. That's the one that I think fans really embrace. Ryan Roberts, a big swing back to the screen. 1-1 the count.
He got a fastball middle in, belt high. He took a big rip at it and fouled it back.
Just a quick note on Chris Young as he stands out there at second base. He's got 39 extra base hits now. That's tied for second in the National League, second to Prince Fielder's 41. There's some support for you, young fella. Bouncing ball out to third. The young man, his first shot at third, handles it very nicely. Ani Chisenhall is making his major league debut. Young has to stay put, 2 outs. And that heart rate will go down just a little bit now.
Absolutely. Get that first one out of the way cleanly. And now Juan Miranda trying to give the Diamondbacks a little 2-out lightning.
3 of 9 on the road trip. Has 11 hits in his last 10 road games, and certainly Miranda trying to keep this spot to stay, but hitting just .230 this year. And as much as the movement and the change with Russell Brandon being moved out, it's still kind of a back and forth who plays first.
And it's not a platoon.
No.
I mean, Nady plays against right-handers. Sometimes Miranda plays against left-handers. It's just, I think, a gut feeling by Gibby. That's just old school managing. I'm not going by whoever wrote that book. There's really no author of the book. Stephen King, maybe? Did he write that book?
No, he's a big Red Sox fan, though. Big Red Sox fan. High fly ball, center field. Miranda is erased, but how about these Diamondbacks? They come back home, they're slugged in the chest, and they answer right back. Kelly Johnson with a walk. Stephen Drew with a triple. Justin Upton with a bloop single. Chris Young with yet another extra base hit. Ian Kennedy, there's your support.
You want to do? Okay.
Major League debut for Lonnie Chisenhall. First pitch swinging, he lifts it into left field. And so now he's gotten his feet wet in the major leagues. A young man who down in the minor leagues had very good numbers. He was the International League Player of the Week and hit 500 as an Indian this spring. Was really big this spring.
500?
Well,
it's like Ryan Roberts.
He had a Ryan Roberts-like spring. But just for your numbers, Gracie, and I know you like to collect numbers like this.
Like 50 for 100?
Well, no, he had a 1452 OPS, though.
I couldn't tell you if that's good or not.
That's about twice league average.
Why didn't he make the team?
Well, they wanted to let him work on his defense down in the minor leagues. He only made 8 errors so far, which is not an alarming total. But he is here now. And he didn't waste any time, did he?
500 and like that
OPS.
1400 SST or whatever it is.
OPS is what it is.
That's sounds like that should make a ball club.
Yeah.
You know, when you got 1400 DDT or whatever, that's big league.
Right. OPS, the 1-1 to Lou Marson is rolled out to third. Ryan Roberts fielding, firing, and in time for the second out.
All right. Here we go, folks. No OPS here, but time's running out for you to vote for the 2011 All-Star selections. Help send your favorite D-back players to the National League All-Star team by voting up to 25 times now through this Thursday at noon at dbacks.com. Vote now at dbacks.com.
Yeah, vote online with the schedule of the ballpark being ready for the All-Star game. You can't punch the old-fashioned ballots when the team is on the road for 20 of the last 32 games prior to the All-Star break. So hop online. Move Justin Upton up that list. I mean, see what you can do to move him up from 13th where he currently stands. Having an incredible year.
That's just wrong. You got to have some home games.
Miguel Montero's not in the top 5. Move him into there. He is deserving. And Stephen Drew's not in the top 5. For me, those are the 3 position players that I would endorse to get him moved up.
Who's the best shortstop in the National League for your money? I'll tell you mine, Jose Reyes.
Yeah, he's having an incredible year. He's second in the voting.
But I think this guy should be there, even ahead of Troy Tulowitzki, who I think is a terrific player.
Who leads in the voting.
Right.
Bouncing ball out to Stephen Drew. Make us look good now, Stephen.
See, look how. All right, vote for Stephen Drew, folks. And we promise not to talk about OPS anymore during this broadcast.
Until the next half inning.
Don't be confused, folks.
Park, warm outside, beautiful inside here at Chase Field. Ready to go, these Diamondbacks. Hey, don't forget, anytime the Diamondbacks score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell will give away 3 free tacos with a large drink purchase, and they'll do so from 4 to 6 the following day. 3-2 is the score in this ball game. So with Gerardo Parra walking his way up to home plate, they are halfway there.
Lost in the All-Star game, Darren, was a really solid shutdown inning by Ian Kennedy. Comes out, your team scores you 3 runs after you give up a 2-run homer in the first inning, and you just come out and have about a 6-pitch top of the second inning. Good stuff from Ian Kennedy.
Yeah, the appropriate response for a solid pitcher for an all-star candidate is Parra takes low, 1-0 the count.
And this is usually where Mitch Talbot starts throwing the ball very well.
Last time out, he pitched pretty effectively against the Colorado Rockies. Swing and a miss, 1-1 the count. Parra, in his last 14 assignments, has 15 hits, some of them pinch hit assignments, hitting .333 in his last 14 games. Had 4 hits on the road trip, a couple of runs batted in, 2 doubles against Justin Verlander. That one in on the knuckles. It's boxed out there by the young second baseman, Cord Phelps, who almost overran that ball.
I think there was some English on that ball, Darren. It took a funny hop on him, and he overran it, as you said.
It was in, and he kind of spun it to him, didn't he?
Okay, there it is all of a sudden. Yeah, that's just a big league skillet right there. I don't know if that had bad anything on it. He just never closed his glove. So Ian Kennedy squares around and gets spun around.
Way inside from the right-hander, and he'll have to hop out of there. Ian with 6 sacrifice bunts this year. Matt Williams with his full set of signs. Eric Young in the first base coach's box keeps an eye on Gerardo Parra. And they're looking for the bunt. Runner takes off. It's a slash, and it's a tough break. I mean, you couldn't have worse luck than that. You couldn't draw it up worse luck.
Oh, when you
right to the guy who tagged him.
When you do a slash, oh man, that's just tough luck right there.
What are you trying to do when you
hit it on the ground? You're trying to hit it on the ground, but line drives aren't bad either.
No. Through any hole.
You can see Gibby.
Kelly Johnson takes inside. Hey, Ian did make solid contact. So now Kelly, who walked in his first at bat, looks at a pitch just on the corner.
Was? Well, according to Tim Welke, it was.
I mean, Kelly took some pitches similar to that. That's why I think he was looking at that one. Outside, don't forget, every time a Diamondback player hits a homer this season, Fulton Homes donates $150 to the Central Arizona Mountain Rescue Association.
Another extended corner there. Kelly Johnson. Golly.
Kelly, 2 of his last 19, if you talk about the road trip.
Yeah, he was almost ready to swing at that one. That was just too far off the plate. 3-2.
Outfield plays in the pull a step or two. Infield is straight, and Kelly lifts that one up and into the seats. So a full count with 2 outs. Talbot against the Rockies, 6 1/3, 3 runs allowed last time. No decision in a 4-3 loss. As we'll watch Kelly do it again. Gracie suggested we talk about the bullpen when we came on the air for these Indians as part of the reason why. They just try and hope and pray they can get it to their bullpen with any semblance of a chance to win. As that one is inside, Arizona hopes that doesn't occur, as Kelly, maybe, just maybe, as the best bullpen in the American League looks on.
There's a bunch of good ones right there, folks.
Their skipper knows that when he goes to them, they've been good. As a matter of fact, the Cleveland bullpen, over their last 13 games, they've allowed 1 earned run in 35 2/3 innings.
Golly. That's a good brotherhood.
Fastball in, that one has popped up.
Steven had a good swing right there at a fastball in the middle of the plate. I like the fact that he swung it with bad intentions.
0-1 the count on Drew. Steven tripled back in the first inning. Takes that one outside to Steven Drew. He looks at an infield, as you can see, that really leaves a lot of space between the shortstop and the third baseman. Really swung the pull. Outfield a couple of steps as well. Center field Sizemore into the right field area, as that one is outside. 2-1 the count. Good to be back home. Folks enjoying a couple of cold beverages. Love the value items.
Always have your ID.
The 2-1. Steven Drew lines it to right field, and that one is put away out there by Travis Buck. We move along. 3-2. Arizona leads it. Michael Brantley ready to go to work. 3-2 is the score. Mark Grace, Darren Sutton. Brad Stanke is down below. And we are glad to be back home. Brantley from Ian Kennedy takes a changeup inside. 1-0 the count. Brantley struck out back in the first inning. Shot. Oh my goodness, what a play by Miranda.
Man.
Wow.
Miranda. Self-preservation. A missile off the bat of Brantley. But fortunately for the Diamondbacks, right at big old Juan Miranda. Boy, that's a really good play he just made. Saved his teeth.
So Ryan Roberts creeps in at third. There must be something in the scouting report on Cord Phelps, who hit .299 in Columbus before he was called up. Roberts is on the cut of the grass, and as the pitch comes home, takes another step or two in. Rest of the infield just about straight. As the 1-0 is lifted over Roberts' head and into left field, where Parra catches it on the line.
Now that is 2 outs on 2 very hard hit balls here by the Cleveland Indians.
Still like you're probably just gonna get makeup.
Well, what's going on there, girls?
Gracie, you like the hat on straight,
No,
though, right?
yeah, you got to wear the hat straight.
Not sideways.
No. Put it on straight.
You like it straight, though, not sideways?
Very, very pretty lady. Got to straighten that hat. Then you'll be big lady.
I'm glad to see you're not swayed there by the fair young lady. You know, I would be tempted to say, well, she can get away with it. You're staying old school across the board. I'm proud of you. That one is on the ground. Kelly Johnson is there. And he throws in time for the out as Druba Cabrera is erased.
Cleveland Indians, talking to Justin Upton earlier today about the game of golf, and that game has actually helped Justin in his baseball swing. We were talking about when he first picked up the game, a game he's very passionate about. He said he would tend to overswing, trying to get extra distance. When he learned that the shorter swing brought more power in golf, he kind of used that in baseball as well. And guys, it's working. Since May 29th, he's hitting over .427, had the RBI single in the first inning.
Back to the screen it goes. And
Or
just as Brad accurately reported that, when Justin pulled his driver out and tried to drive the green.
I was going to say,
I like
that didn't look like a shorter. That looked like one of those, I'm going to hit this from 400 yards.
Hey, look, I know exactly what, in watching Justin for that time, understand exactly what Justin's talking about. And we saw it come into play against Justin Verlander especially. I mean, realizing that he's strong, realizing, as you said about him for his first couple of years, that he has to trust his talent. And this is the closest I've seen him come to that utopian state, as that one is fouled off. He's taking 2 big hacks. Let's watch him with 2 strikes.
Okay.
Good crowd on hand tonight, and there should be. This team has earned, with just 3 home games before they go back out on the road, support. They played great on the road this year. They played solid baseball at home. They're serving notice that they're staying in this race. Bouncing ball, and out to third it goes. I'm told we have a key to the game, and it is brought to you by our good friends and partners with Nissan.
All right. What do we got today?
Old school.
Ah, I got you.
Going old school, the key to the game.
Now, what do you think about that?
Well, you know I like old school.
Well,
I mean, this is.
No, I'm not talking about like Gibby or Alan Trammell or Don Baylor or
That's
Matt
what I like.
Williams.
Right.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the movie Old School. You saw that movie, didn't you?
Well, I did, with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
That was a very, very good movie. Snoop
Funny.
Dogg was in that movie.
Very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember Mitchapalooza?
I do remember
Well,
Mitchapalooza.
We've got this is Mitchapalooza. This Mr. Talbot's first name is Mitch.
Okay.
So it's all about Mitch and Mitchapalooza. Old school.
So you want to celebrate Mitchapalooza with Mitch Talbot on the mound by getting a big offensive outpouring tonight. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right.
I like that.
Have a party at Mitch's expense.
Okay. I think I will support that as your play-by-play announcer. I think that's a very good idea. Well done by you. Very creative.
Should we go to Speaker City?
No, probably not Speaker City, and probably not streaking through the quad. We should probably pass on both of those.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that. Not the way you and I look.
But it's a very, very good key. And it came into play, your key to the game, in the first inning.
Yes, very much so.
The struggles that he has had. And I like it because the manager and coaching staff are old school. That's kind of why I like it.
Well, and we love that coaching staff, and Gibby and his staff do a great job. But forgot about EY. He's old school as well. But that's not it.
Big swing, 1-1 the count. Miguel Montero. Well, he clearly is. He was old school when he was 24. Matt Williams.
Maybe even before that.
1-1 the count on Miguel. Drove in a run with the ground out to short back in the first inning. Hot shot ranging to his left toward Phelps. Phelps throws in time for the out. Going to Speaker City. Going old school. Mitchapalooza. 3-2. By Fry's. Now, Fry's supports USO through Coinbox Collections now through August 13th. Jack in the Box. You can get anything on the menu any time of day. Porsche of North Scottsdale. Visit us at scottsdale.porschedealer.com. Ian Kennedy. He has sat down 7 in a row. He has had back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings. And Carlos Santana is backed out of there. Tracy and I glad to have you with us tonight. And it's good to be back home. Carlos was 1 for 9 at the stop in San Francisco in that Giants series. If you take a look back at that series for the Cleveland Indians, it was a 4-3 loss. It was a 1-0 loss. It was a 3-1 loss to the Giants.
You give up 8 runs in 3 games and you get swept.
Well, we know about those Giants, don't we, Diamondbacks fans? They are last in the National League in runs scored, and they're in first place in the West. Breaking ball is low and inside.
They just don't have to score very many.
So talking briefly with Manny Acta before the game, I'd love to have my big bat in there, but I know we'll bring this up several times during the series. Good pitch, 3-2, but
yeah, I love watching Travis Hafner hit. I'd like to see him maybe put a first base glove or maybe an outfield glove on. Heck, first base. If I could do it, anybody could do it.
No, enough of that. Swing and a miss, believing in his fastball. He has struck out Santana twice.
He got Santana with a changeup, and I would imagine that was in the back of Santana's mind as that gas got poured right by him just above the belt. Good pitch.
So now Grady Sizemore. The Diamondbacks after this 3-game series as Sizemore looks at a curveball. A pretty one for strike one, the old get-me-over curveball. But they'll head to Oakland. Kirk Gibson's squad will head to Oakland for 3, Milwaukee for 3, and St. Louis for 4. Fastball over the top of that one. Check that. That was a changeup. He was too far out front, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a beautiful changeup. It didn't have a whole lot of dip to it. That might be why you thought it was the fastball, but it certainly had about 10 miles an hour left, and quickly on back-to-back off-speed pitches, 0-2.
Outside.
Good effort there.
Fastball.
Good effort there. Just missed on the outside corner.
So Grady Sizemore in 2006, do you remember this, folks? Scored 134 runs.
My goodness.
Homered 28 times and had 53 doubles.
Oh, my goodness. That wasn't fair what Ian Kennedy just did.
He went to school, didn't he?
A very good hitter in Grady Sizemore. A couple of off-speed pitches to get to 0-2, and then a blazing fastball right to the inside corner, and it's right past Grady Sizemore.
So Kennedy faces Travis Buck.
Pretty impressive so far this inning by Kennedy. All 3 of his pitches working.
Oh, and 2 the count. Travis Buck rounded out the first back in the first inning. The 0-2. Curveball, that's strike
dear.
3. Ian Kennedy's in the hotel business. He just opened one up right here in downtown Phoenix just in time for the All-Star game. Oh, Mr. Santana, good morning. Mr. Sizemore, good afternoon. Mr. Buck, good evening. We'll turn your bet down for you. And Sanderson Ford Kidcaster auditions from 5 to 7 before the Indians game. We rolled on. 3-2 is the score. Ryan Roberts to lead it off. Diamondbacks on top. Big swing. First pitch swinging on a fastball that ran in on his hands. And that one is put away out there in right field by Travis Buck.
Well, Mitch Talbot, Mitchapalooza, he has come as advertised, Darren Sutton.
Well, he certainly has.
Struggle in the first and then really settle in and throw the ball well after that.
By the way, I want to send a shout out that when you come to the ball game, head out and see our friends with Friday's Front Row Sports Grill. They sent us some great snacks, some appetizers, they have a great salmon and chicken dish. So on the healthy side,
I'm eating the potato skins.
On the healthy side, on the snack side, great spot to enjoy a ball game. And we appreciate all the folks out there for taking care of us. They'll take care of you. They're taking care of them. One of the unique venues to have it be 115 outside and be enjoying a game from a restaurant indoors.
It's a nice touch.
The 0-1 to Miranda. Inside. And then, of course, the other option is you can always head out to the pool, take a swim, take in a ball game, enjoy yourself if you're a D-backs fan. Now that's big league.
We've been there many times.
Pitch is outside, 2-1 the count. Juan Miranda fly to center field back in the first inning. And for Miranda, certainly with time as a member of the New York Yankees with American League action. Thought about it. Didn't go. Good heavy sinker, but he held up. Miranda had faced the Indians 16 at bats worth prior to this, 5 of 16.
Good change up there on 3-1. Way out in front of it was Miranda.
When you see the sinking fastball changeup combo, again, I think it's stunning how much success lefties have had against it. Maybe it's all but in the first inning.
You know what? I agree with you. You got good sink. You change speeds pretty well. You don't see many breaking pitches, sliders or curveballs from Talbot. Occasionally.
He doesn't throw many.
Another
over
change
the top
up.
of that one, and down he goes. The 4 greatest moments in Major League Baseball All-Star Game history are going head-to-head to determine which is the most memorable. Go to MLB.com/moments. Vote now for your favorite Midsummer Classics. Tune into the All-Star Game on Tuesday, July 12th at 5 Pacific here on Fox. Oh, my goodness.
Got her camera.
Big old cannonball just jumped into the pool. Here is Parra. That one sinks out of there. 1-0 the count. You talk about the Indians and the Diamondbacks. They have gone into that next year in about May. For the Indians, it was different than Arizona. It was the start of the season. And they blew out of the gates to start the year. And since then, they've stumbled a bit.
Well, they started, what, about 17-4 at home?
Very good at home. We were telling you earlier, they started 30-15, 15 games over 500. And those 30 wins were more than anyone in the big leagues. They were hitting a lot more. They were scoring about 75% more runs per game in those first few weeks. Parra spoils a pitch, down and away.
Well, I think there's a lot of AL Central teams finding out just how much good pitching there is in the National League West. There is a lot of it, folks. Colorado has some good pitching. We talk about San Francisco all the time. The Dodgers have some good pitching. And a lot of it's on the DL. And, of course, the Diamondbacks pitching much better this year as well.
Especially these two pitchers, Kennedy and Hudson. out front of a solid changeup. Really fluttered in there that time. Parra running hard, you never mind that, but he is erased. Yeah, the big party, Mitchell Palooza, was in the first inning only. Arizona clinging to a 3-2 lead on top of the Cleveland Indians. Our trivia question: name the 3 Indians pitchers since 1975 to start the All-Star game. Boy, great sign. Very organic, very simple, and to the point. You're right, it's going to be here, and it's going to be great. Well done, sir. We like signs like that.
Yes, we do.
And we need more signs at the ball games.
I'm glad you finally mentioned that.
On the move is Lonnie Chisenhall. His first major league hit. And big league hit number 1 is a double. So welcome to the big leagues, young man. He was drafted by the Indians out of junior college in North Carolina a couple of years back. The journey took him through the minor leagues, and he's got big league hit number 1.
Oh, good for him. He takes a first pitch changeup and just rifles it down the right field line. Hope that's the first of thousands for you, young man. Congratulations.
The old veteran, the big winning old veteran lately, Orlando Cabrera. He seems to go everywhere, and they just win wherever he goes. Playing a backup role now. So Chisenhall, he settles in, catches his breath. He's made his plays at third. He now has his first big league hit. And Lou Marson takes a pitch at his high. 1-0 the count. Young man that, well, you folks have seen around these parts. He's from Coronado High School. Originally a Phillies draft pick out of high school, out of Coronado. Born and raised in the Valley. Swings right through it. At one point going through Coronado High School, he thought about he might be playing quarterback in college. He's a good quarterback. Broken collarbone. Kind of dashed that dream, but baseball was right there for a 4th round draft pick.
He's a major league catcher now. I think he made the right decision.
Into the hands, fights it off into center field. So he has a base hit. And his high school coach, Buck Holmes, I would imagine glad to see one of his very own products coming back home with the hit.
Well, that's the danger of going inside, going up and in. When you go up and in, a lot of times you break a lot of bats, but they're able to get it airborne and flip it out in front of the outfielders. That's exactly what happened. As Marson adds to the rally here, 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Mitch Talbot Probably going to be asked for a sacrifice bunt here. We've seen this year, it's a very popular play here, 1st and 30 with that safety squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is probably just going to be a straight sacrifice here in this situation. Just try to get the guy to second.
Pitches inside, 1-0 the count to Talbot. Talbot in the major leagues has 6 big league plate appearances. And he is 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. He grounded out back in the 2nd inning in this ball game. So Lou Marson is at first base. Chisenhall is at third base. Say Lou's name properly as Marson dives back in there. 5 hits for the Indians, 3 for the Diamondbacks. Pops that one up the first base line, and Miranda fires on. Beautiful bunt.
A beautiful bunt by a guy that, well, he probably doesn't practice that very much. That is just perfectly done now. Cleveland Indians with a chance to tie it up and even take the lead. Beautifully done. Just deadens it with the end part of the bat. Good stuff. I like seeing these American League pitchers handle the National League stuff, and I'll bet you they like to go up there and do that stuff.
Well, when it's all said and done, they'd be just fine. If both leagues did away with the designated hitter, there'd be a lot of happy people, but not guys like Travis Hafner.
Well, no, definitely not.
Michael Brantley takes a pitch that's a strike. That's a cut fastball. Stayed up in the zone, but 0-1. Boy, Brantley, when he is at the top of the order, 296. I mean, he really sets the table. The rest of the order hasn't been able to follow suit. That is a foul ball. 5th amongst American League leadoff hitters with a 296 batting average. CenturyLink high-speed internet presents CenturyLink high-speed pitch. Mitch Talbot 92, Ian Kennedy 92. And Ian would love a strikeout right now.
Well, he's 2/3 of the way there.
Be ready to block it up, Miguel Montero. The 0-2. How about that? He didn't have to block anything. A fastball over the inside corner and a huge strikeout from the Diamondbacks right-hander.
Perfectly placed on the inside corner. Tim Welke correctly rings it right up. That's just big league pitching right there.
Wow.
3-pitch strikeout when he needed it most. Now you got to guard against the letdown. You have to go just as hard here on Cord Phelps with 2 outs as you did on Brantley.
Cord Phelps out of Stanford. Takes a cut fastball that he dropped the elbow underneath a bit. Indians 3rd-round pick in 08 out of Stanford. Not really a huge prospect at all coming out of high school. Self-made player when they talk about him. And just got to the big leagues a few weeks back. Over the outside. Same pitch. He gets that arm up high enough, he hooks it, and almost turns over like a slider will turn over.
A reverse slider?
Not a reverse slider. Mr. Bauer is not quite a Diamondback yet. The 1-1.
Oh, man.
But Ian Kennedy is, and the count is 1-2.
Well, that is another fastball zipped to the inside corner. Let's see if the crowd can get behind Ian Kennedy here. Come on, folks. Come on, folks. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I like it. Starting to get loud in here.
With runners on 2nd and 3rd, the 1-2 curveball just got a piece of it.
Good curveball there from Kennedy. We haven't seen a whole lot of curveballs from him, but that was a good one down and in. Really, Phelps did a great job just to nick this one foul and stay alive. All right, right back up again, folks. This is when you come to the ball games, you stand up and make a little noise. Even after a foul ball, yeah, follow her lead.
1-2 the count. The pitch to Cord. Phelps lifted left field, pretty well struck. Going back is Paul. Kennedy got out of it. Pitchers since 1972 start the All-Star game.
Yeah, we didn't even get a chance to do this.
Cliff Lee, Charles Nagy, oh boy, Chaz.
Oh boy, Chucky.
And Gaylord Perry. Very, very good stuff. We love.
I wouldn't have guessed Charles Nagy. Good for him.
What a career he had.
He was good.
And pitched through arm injuries late in his career to fight to where he was.
Starting All-Star games, that's fabulous.
Kennedy takes a pitch that stays up and in. He very quietly, because he speaks very quietly and doesn't seek the attention.
Very understated.
Has been a heck of a pitching coach. He's done a nice job with these guys. He stokes the flame of the competition between the guys. He finds the right time to try to work with his relievers, because you can't really throw long bullpens when you're struggling as a reliever. Two and one the count. Bouncing ball out to third. Long throw by the youngster. Boy, what a rocket arm.
Good arm, doesn't he?
Let's listen to Charles Nagy talking about that competition between the 1 and the 2 and the 3 pushing one another.
These guys are a close-knit group, and it's also kind of a sibling rivalry, you know. Josh goes out or somebody goes out, Ian goes out and pitches 8 innings. Huddy wants to do the same thing, He's not going to let Big Brother or whoever one up him, that sort of thing. And, it's nice to have that kind of competition. I remember I had that with, Dennis Martinez, Oral Hershiser, and a few other guys in the rotation. And that's what you try and cultivate. One guy wants to go out and do it as equal, if not better. And, you go out and they give their team a chance to win and, pitch deep in the games. And that's what we've been talking about since spring training.
Boy, those are some big league names to be pushed by.
Doggone right.
And he's one himself. But Nagy pushing Dennis Martinez, pushing Nagy back, pushing Oral Hershiser. Woo.
Some veteran guys that had great success in their careers, both Hershiser and Dennis Martinez. People forget just how great a pitcher Dennis Martinez was.
Swing and a miss. That's a changeup. Charles Nagy, who was he? You can see the wins he had. The work he did as a member of the Cleveland Indians, and simply put, like when they talk about Jack Morris, who didn't battle health near the end of his career as much as Nagy did, he was just a big game pitcher. There's not always a way to quantify that. You wanted Nagy with the ball in the big game. He's trying to cultivate that kind of confidence in his men down there, but you can't go out and do it for them.
Well, let's not kid ourselves. There's a little more offense going on in those days.
You bet there was. If you mean hitters were hitting, well, let's put it this way. If you mean hitters are hitting legally now,
yes,
that's
exactly what I mean.
Or to say it even more straight without beating around the bush, Charles Nagy put up those numbers in the heart of the steroid era.
That's exactly right.
1-1 the count. And guys like Nagy and Maddox, though they knew probably what was going on at times, they just kept pitching. Pitching well.
And the Cleveland teams that Charles Nagy pitched for, they would outscore you. Those teams with Albert Bell and Manny Ramirez, both Alomars.
Matt Williams was there for a while.
Meanwhile, Mitch Talbot hasn't given up a hit since the first inning.
Like another Indians pitcher that we used to watch a lot. Score as Drupal Cabrera digs in and he gets ready to swing the bat. Cabrera with a home run. First pitch he saw back in the first inning as he takes a pitch in and off the plate. So you can give Drupal 13 homers and 46 runs batted in. Pitches inside, a changeup there. Take a look at who he is amongst American League shortstop. He is basically the man.
Oh, he should be starting the All-Star game.
Who's leading in the voting, by the way?
Probably Derek Jeter.
That one is chopped foul.
And I love Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter is great for baseball, but this guy should be starting the All-Star game. Derek's been hurt. Derek hadn't had near the year Cabrera's had.
As Drupal takes up and in, he is from Puerto La Cruz in Venezuela. And the young man this November will turn 26 years old, so still young. Of course, wears number 13 to honor other great Venezuelan shortstops, as that one is popped up. Omar Vizquel, Ozzie Guillen,
probably Davey Concepcion.
Davey Concepcion. And how has he moved around? Well, he was sent for first baseman Eduardo Perez. You remember him, veteran. The Indians sent Eduardo Perez to the Mariners, picking up Asdrubal Cabrera when he was just a young minor leaguer. Pretty good foresight in that deal. Cabrera is on the move. Upton is up with it. Fires it in on a hop. And a double for the speedy Asdrubal Cabrera. It's 20 doubles this year.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's just good hitting right there by Asdrubal Cabrera. That was a good changeup, 3-2. And he just stayed right on it. Banged it out to right field for a leadoff double. So here come the Indians again. Kennedy was able to pitch out of trouble in the 5th inning, but these Indians, they're pesky.
As he works here in the 6th inning, the pitch count is more than manageable, and he needed that. As Gracie told you, Kansas City really worked him out. A lot of foul balls, a lot of high pitch innings. Let's see if he can handle this one and leave that runner out there. Dominican-born Carlos Santana, a Dodgers sign originally. And changeup misses outside.
He's struggled this year with runners in scoring position, but boy, he plays a great guitar.
Right, this is a different player.
No, it's Carlos Santana.
Right, he is Carlos, the one that the Indians sent Casey Blake and Cash to the Dodgers for back in July of 2008. And he's a catcher, and he's playing some first base.
He's right in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right behind him. That's very good on the people running the big board out there to know that he's a Hall of Fame rock and roller. Carlos Santana. Got a black magic woman.
Right. The thing about it is with this Santana, different than the rock star and the great musician Carlos Santana, is that he's not a Giants fan at all after his 3 days up there. Carlos Santana, the musician's a huge Giants fan. So that's where I will get you back on track. Thankfully. 2-0 the count.
Got him in my CD right now.
Pitch is high. 3-0 the count from Kennedy. Santana struck out back in the 1st. He struck out in the 4th now. Got him with a change in the 1st, fastball in the 4th.
Let's see if he's swinging 3-0. I would imagine he should be. Taken all the way.
3-1 the count. You mentioned the runners in scoring position struggles below 200.
See, that would have been, as a manager, I might have turned him loose right there. That may be the best pitch he's going to see in this at bat.
Thought about it.
And he ends up walking. But Cabrera stays right where he is. Hang on a minute, Darren. Long read coming. The D-backs Grand Slam giveaway pack includes tickets to the biggest upcoming giveaway games this season, plus 3 guaranteed bobbleheads and the World Championship replica ring, courtesy of Chase. Each pack also comes with a $10 gift card to Circle K. Get your Grand Slam giveaway pack by calling 602-462-4786 or visit dbacks.com/Grand Slam.
Well done by you as Grady Sizemore gets ready to go.
Ian Kennedy got work to do now.
Sizemore singled in the 1st, struck out in the 4th inning. Fastball is high. Push that one uphill. Miguel Montero wants to talk about it. And we shall see what Miguel has up his sleeves. Kennedy, with the runners in scoring position this year, has been just about flawless. We're talking about a 115 opponent's batting average with ducks on the pond. Grady, a Washington native, Cascade High School in Mills Creek, Washington. Not far from Seattle. Fastball pours that one over the outside. 1-1 the count. So that grip with those fingers wrapped around it, the middle, the Vulcan grip with the middle finger and the ring finger, almost like a split finger fastball with your middle fingers. That's how he throws his changeup. 1-2 the count. Sizemore, originally an Expos draft pick out of high school in 2000. Kind of adjusted it in case. 1-2 the count. He came in 2002 to the Indians in the Bartolo Colon trade, and boy, that's a fun trade to talk about. Colon to the Expos. The 1-2. Fastball popped up. Ryan Roberts is there. Ryan Roberts makes the play.
A big time pitch in a big situation again for Ian Kennedy. A couple of change-ups to get 2 strikes and then just buzzed his hands with a fastball and got an easy pop up on his broken bat. Great pitch.
ASU's Travis Buck, a supplemental pick back in 2005 of the A's out of ASU. Grew up in Washington just like Sizemore. Inside, pulled a changeup, couldn't get the corner. Line drive, base hit right field. They're going to test Upton. Here's the throw to the plate. It's high. The tag, not in time. We're tied at 3. Travis Buck with a single and an RBI. Cabrera just kept on going.
Nice piece of hitting on one hop. Here we go. Justin Upton just up the line enough to allow the streaking Asdrubal Cabrera to get that foot in just before the tag of Miguel Montero. And I think a base running mistake there by Carlos Santana not being on third base when the cutoff man was missed so badly there.
That allows the ground ball to end the inning. Curveball is a strike. Kennedy, how good has he been with runners in scoring position previous of that hit? 2 of 40 were opposing batters with runners in scoring position. That's how big that hit was by Travis Buck. First big league game for Lonnie Chisenhall. First big league hit came back in the 5th inning.
And you hope Ian Kennedy just worries about the hitter in this situation. Carlos Santana is not going anywhere.
Rushed it to the plate, got underneath the curveball, and it's high. Lonnie, the International League Player of the Week, as the brain trust for the Diamondbacks have a watchful eye on it. Hard ground ball, base hit right field. Big league hit number 2. Upton up with it again. Big league RBI number 1 for Lonnie. They brought him here because there weren't enough timely hits. He just got one, 4-3.
And now you're trailing here in the 6th inning, and Manny Acta doing just what he wants to do, and that is get 6 innings or so from his starter and turn it over to that bullpen. Ian Kennedy can't get the youngster out. Everybody moves up a bag. And Ian Kennedy, for the first time in a long time, not having one of his better outings.
So they'll break it up. Charles Nagy with a visit. Indians with 8 hits in this game. The Diamondbacks with 3. As Gracie pointed out astutely and has several times, the Diamondbacks did a lot of work in the 1st inning. The Indians have been working ever since. And that man, Lonnie Chisenhall, the Indians' first pick in 08 out of a junior college in North Carolina, Pitt Community College, is having quite a major league debut.
There's still only 1 out. 1st and 3rd here. Ian Kennedy going to have to work awfully hard just to keep it at this number.
Lou Marson takes a fastball over the inside corner. 0-1 the count. Dropped his back shoulder. That might not get it done. It's pretty shallow. Drew. Boy, what a great job to manage to get yourself underneath and then have your momentum coming back in to make that play.
Well, huge out there. Now, Talbot being called back, it looks like. No. What do you got? Yes, he's being called back.
They spending the Travis Hafner chip here?
Yeah, absolutely. He got his 5 innings. He's going to try and turn it over to his bullpen now that he's got a lead here in the top of the 6th inning. He's going to go to his bullpen for 4 innings. As Mitch Talbot not real happy getting yanked from this ball game.
I can't say that I blame him.
He's
dealing. Competitive. He's pitching very well. Talbot gave up 3 in the first inning.
Hadn't given up a hit since.
10 batters in a row he has sat down. 12.5 pitches per inning since that first inning. Here is Travis Hafner. Very dangerous designated hitter. Will not play. Will not play in the stop here. Will not play in Cincinnati, where they go next. Will not play, except for to be a pinch hitter. He's hitting .338 this year. He's got 7 homers and 29 RBIs.
So he's the Cleveland version of Willie Mo Pena.
That's exactly right. Pride of North Dakota, 34 years old. And that one misses. 1-0 the count. The last time Hafner played the field at all, June 24th, 2007. Played first base at Washington. I think that's stunning to you. I look over to my right and I see that you're pretty stunned by that.
Shocking to me. You tell me this guy couldn't put a first base glove on and go help his team out?
It's 1-1 the count.
I mean, he can help his team out right here getting a base hit, but man, I want a few more chances, a few more cracks at it, you know?
Finished 5th in the MVP voting. A couple of years into his career in 2005. Has driven in 104 times. All sorts of answers down there in that bullpen. The 1-1, 1-2 the count. Talbot was very sprinting, and he wasn't wanting to be at the finish line.
He's going to be a lot more upset if pinch hitter Travis Hafner makes an out.
Curveball, he just made an out. Hafner goes down. Man. There's his loaded bat for the night.
I could have done that, yeah. I don't blame him.
4-3 though. Gracie, walk us through the at-bat. Ian Kennedy against Travis Hafner.
Coming off the bench cold. You take ball 1. Now you take a big rip at a fastball in the middle of the plate. That's strike 1. You take strike 2. And now the big curveball, strike 3. And Mitch Talbot, who had retired 10 in a row, hadn't given up a hit since the first inning, is out of the ball game. And that terrific bullpen now for the Cleveland Indians. He's hot. He's not happy about it.
No. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play. You talk about building for the future. Kirk Gibson talks about it time and time and time again. Even when folks question some of his decisions, Gibson talks about building for the future. You better hope you don't need desperately Mitch Talbot in August for a 7-inning outing to gut it out, because they didn't trust him to go past 5 tonight.
Well, you see, the first of many terrific bullpen guys that the Cleveland Indians have.
That's the other half of the story.
Right.
They're good.
They're very good.
3 of the top 4 in ERA of relievers in the American League. Joe Smith, Rafael Perez, and Vinny Pastano. Bouncing ball, charging. Cabrera. Wow, what a play. Oh. Justin Upton hustling up the line. A fabulous play.
Great play there by Cabrera. Comes in. Upton flying down the line. He gets him by a half step. Terrific play by the guy that should be starting the All-Star game for the American League.
Here is Chris Young. So where do we start? I mean, Smith has a 1.08 ERA. And you start going down the list of these relievers. And an abdominal strain. Started the year on the disabled list. Made a rehab assignment in Double-A and had a higher ERA in Double-A in his rehab assignment than he has in the big leagues at 1.08.
1.08.
You see Rafael Perez, Vinny Pastano, and then the closer, Chris Perez. All remember the St. Louis Cardinals. Sub-3 bullpen ERA leading the American League. And there is Rafael Perez up now.
That's a great pitch. Boy, this guy's got some stuff. We haven't even seen anything off speed. That's just a good, firm sidearm fastball. And the location looks awfully good as well.
That one is outside from the right arm of Joe Smith. They haven't embraced being a bit of a no-name bullpen when they come into town. Kind of a plain rap bunch, and they love that reputation. Fouled off at home plate. Both of these teams can claim that when the phones ring, that's been a big part of their change. Cleveland, the Diamondbacks bullpen as well. You know, you think about Arizona's bullpen. They gave up those 7 runs in 1 inning yesterday, and it doesn't look good when that happens. The previous 14 innings for the Diamondbacks on that road trip, they had given up 1 run. Hot shot right there to make the play. Lonnie Chisenhall stayed on the bag. Boy, the kid's having a good night.
Offensively and defensively, that was a bullet that took a tough hop, and he just stayed right with it. Just a super play. Watch the ball come up, and he's right there. No problem whatsoever. Nice play.
Miguel Montero against Smith. Smith out of Wright State in Dayton, Ohio. Born in Cincinnati. Went to high school in Amelia, Ohio. A Mets third-round pick in 06.
A Diamondback favorite went to Wright State. Brian Anderson. Left-handed pitcher. Brian Anderson went to Wright State. I'll bet you Joe Smith didn't have better numbers at Wright State than Brian Anderson.
The 0-1.
One of the greatest college pitchers of all time, Brian Anderson.
My guess is, you're probably right, but my other guess is Smiths were pretty good to get noticed and picked that high from a mid-major.
Oh, certainly. I'm not saying this guy's not good.
No.
He's terrific.
The 0-2.
I'm just
Fastball
saying that
in.
Brian Anderson put up legendary numbers at Wright State.
The word of the game. Log on to FoxSportsArizona.com. The UPS store delivers the word. Comeback. FoxSportsArizona.com. Enter to win tickets to the Fan Fest July 8th through the 12th. Comeback. Come back in this game.
Miguel Montero is going to tap it back to the box, hit a comebacker.
Not a comebacker. A comeback win. Maybe a 6-4 victory for the Diamondbacks. That's what the guys in the truck are hoping for. I think that's what you at home, that's what you're hoping for. You know he's hoping for. We want to go ahead and encourage our Diamondbacks fans to probably go ahead and put your rally cap on. It's a tough bullpen.
Yeah, I'll say. Oh, my goodness. Joe Smith took about 3 steps to the dugout. Somehow Tim Welke didn't ring that up for strike 3. So new life for Miguel Montero.
Threw that slider in, and Miguel swings right over the top of it. And he made the Wright State team as a walk-on. And they used him out of the bullpen after he changed his arm slot. Actually made that arm slot change in college. Pretty pedestrian walk-on year, but he made the club. But he had a 2.75, changed his arm angle. And for some reason, and this doesn't happen to a lot, the lower he went, the harder he threw it. That doesn't always happen that way. And his draft year had a 1.03 ERA with 21 saves.
It's pretty good.
You bet.
Him and Montero in a good battle here.
For the Cleveland Indians, 4 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error. They've stranded 5. The Diamondbacks, 3 runs, 3 hits, and no errors. They have stranded a pair. It will be the Indians bullpen who was suggested to be talked about coming on the air the rest of the way. Boy, he really is laying on it. 9 pitch at bat, heading to 10. Trying to pick that man up.
He's going to be top stepping the rest of the game.
Starting pitcher Mitch Talbot, who was very good. Went through his evening exactly as the numbers said he would, which is tough first inning. And
dominant after that.
He really locked in. Bouncing ball out to first. Santana to the bag. Step 1 for the bullpen for Cleveland. Us, and early on it was the big bat of the young shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera with a 2-run homer. But then the Diamondbacks, a comeback immediately. Stephen Drew with an attempted dive, tripled. He came on down. Justin Upton popped one in there to right field. Another run come on down. The Diamondbacks grabbed the lead 3-2. And then in the 6th inning, it was 2 runs for the Cleveland Indians. It was a young man with his first big league RBI, and Lonnie Chisenhall, and that's where we stand. Glad to have you with us. For Ian Kennedy, the goal, get his team back out there. Though it may be a successful and tough bullpen, a quick inning is a must. Get Ryan Roberts, Juan Miranda, and Gerardo Parra back up there.
1 pitch, 1 out always helps. So the leadoff hitter, Michael Brantley, quickly retired.
And so now Cord Phelps. Phelps, who had 24 extra base hits, 40 RBIs in 50 games in AAA Columbus. Joe Patterson, the left-hander, goes to work. Good curveball. No balls and 2 strikes to count. Swing and a miss. Good evening, Mr. Phelps.
Well, 3-pitch strikeout again. Couple of curveballs. That was a thing of beauty right there. Bottom dropping out of that one. Very nicely done there by Ian Kennedy. Perfect curveball.
As Drupal Cabrera. Kennedy peers over that glove. Cabrera a homer, a ground out, and a double. Fastball, 0-1 the count to Cabrera.
Yeah, he was taking a shot there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was. Curveball, solid take, good pitch too. 1-1 the count. Bouncing ball, that's a fair ball. A 1-2-3 quick inning for Ian Kennedy. Let's see what his offense has in store in the bottom of the 7th right after this.
Jackson, Joe Borowski getting set for Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink, our post-game show. And Joe, Manny Acta, he pulls out his starting pitcher, Mike Talbot, after he retired his last 10 batters. What does that tell you about what the Indians manager was thinking?
Tells me a manager who's trying to get runs any way he can. He went for the knockout blow right there, especially with Talbot the way he's been pitching. But it also says a bullpen that's dominant, so he has a lot of confidence in it. On the other side, D-backs are happy to see anybody but Talbot right now.
Absolutely. We'll see how his decision plays out over the next couple of innings, guys, and we'll look forward to talking to you about it in our postgame show.
Should be good stuff. Joe and Jody 1-1 the count on Ryan Roberts. Smith still out there. Roberts is grounded out to third and fly to right. Tried to take it the other way, running hard up the line, and still Roberts 0 for 3 on the Cord Phelps to Carlos Santana ground out.
Now that's going to be all for Joe Smith. 4 very easy outs. So Manny Acton now going to go to another tentacle of that bullpen.
They may be thinking double switch too. I see a defender coming out onto the field. I see a veteran defender in Orlando Cabrera. How about we reset the situation when we come back? Cabrera is on. The bullpen gate swings open. More from Chase after this. Futures Field 4-3 is the score. Don't forget, find out and learn how you can play Pachinko right here at Chase Field by going to the interactive kiosk near section 111 during regular season home games. Gila River Casinos brings it to you, and the Cleveland Indians bring another one of those talented arms to handle a hitter like that for the Diamondbacks. Love it. Tony Sipp out of Clemson is the left-hander, and this year again just another man out of that pen with a sub-2 ERA.
Another hard-throwing, this time left-hander. And we have a pinch hitter for Juan Miranda. It's going to be Willie Bloomquist.
Orlando Cabrera is now at second base. He will bat in the 9 slot. Sipp is in the 2 hole in the pitcher's spot, which is now in the 2nd spot. So Miranda is now a spectator. Willie Bloomquist leads it off, trying to set the table. A hard throwing left-hander misses inside. 1-0 the count. Out of Pascagoula, Mississippi is Sipp. We mentioned 45th round pick in 04 out of Clemson, so he's made something of himself. When you're a 45th round pick, you take that journey. Bloomquist to right field. Toward the gap it goes, and over there to make the play is Travis Buck. Bloomquist is erased on a fly out to right field. And another call to the bench, answered by Xavier Nady. Sipp in his last 10 outings, 8 innings of work, no runs allowed. Opposing hitters are now 1 for the last 25 against him.
Golly. No wonder you go to the bullpen. Tomorrow he might get 2 shutout innings from his starter. Just take it right to the pen. Hear the phone ringing all the way down there about the 3rd inning. Why not?
Willie Mo Pena calls Ian Kennedy back to the dugout. That pitch is low to Nady. Kennedy, when you're looking at the pitch count, 7 innings, 4 runs allowed, 94 pitches. So I'm guessing here, I mean, we'll see what the decision is. If Nady doesn't reach, I'm thinking Kennedy goes back out. Line drive, center field. We'll find out. 94 pitches for Ian Kennedy. Oh, yeah.
Going back out.
You bet. Glad to have you back at the ballpark with Nady at first and Bloomquist in left. We'll show them to you in a bit, but coming on as pinch hitters. And there are no dramatic changes outside of that because Ian Kennedy is still working. There's exit first and Willie Bloomquist in left. Curveball, that one is fouled off. Carlos Santana. Well, the Cleveland Indians scored a pair of runs in the first inning, and they did so on Asdrubal Cabrera's 2-run homer. They scored a pair of runs in the 6th inning on Travis Buck's RBI single and Lonnie Chisenhall's RBI single, his 2nd major league hit. Charging, backhanded flip, nice play by Kelly Johnson. Don't forget this July, baseball's biggest stars get together in the desert one great night. It's the biggest event. Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It's Tuesday. It's July 12th, right here, 5 o'clock, only on Fox. So now Grady Sizemore. Ian, fastball, fly ball. Just beat him with it.
By the way, Ian Kennedy's been more than good enough again here tonight.
Diamondbacks have 6 outs to support him against that bullpen. He had a clean 2nd. He had a clean 3rd. He had a clean 4th. He got out of a jam in the 5th. The runs we told you about scored in the 6th. Faced a minimum in the 7th, trying to do so in the 8th. Arizona doesn't have a base hit since the 1st inning.
Isn't that amazing? Well, they came out like gangbusters. Bang, 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 and then.
The Indians, whether it be the starter in Talbot or the gentleman coming out of the bullpen in Joe Smith and Tony Sipp, have combined to sit 16 Diamondbacks down in a row. Pours it in there. No balls and 2 strikes to count on Travis Buck. A couple of timely hits for Cleveland in the 6th inning. They have not had any to show of the last couple of weeks. In San Francisco, Cleveland was 2 of 22 with runners in scoring position. Tonight, 3 for 8, able to scratch a few more out. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball
Just
didn't
missed.
get the call.
Miguel Montero tries to steal this one, but it's just a little bit too far inside.
The 2-2. Curveball grounded out to first. Nady's tested. Got to hurry to the bag. Got it. Kennedy cleans it up. Let's see if his men with the bat will be there for him. They have 6 more outs. Diamondbacks baseball brought to you by Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, no blackout dates. Sonic, America's drive-in. It's new, it's better, it's the new Sonic Good. And by the new Quest 5-year price lock promise. Visit quest.com/promise for details. Glad to have you back in Phoenix, Arizona. Willie Mo Pena will lead things off for these Diamondbacks. If you missed it on the road trip, Pena, a couple of game-changing home runs, striking a comeback and then also doing fabulous work in a big win and a rousing ovation. He's got a tough one, though. He faces Vinny Pastano out of Cal State Fullerton. Good to see the folks who were watching the games on the road. That was a large ovation for Willie Mo Pena. For a large man.
They like large men that hit long homers.
Homer in Detroit was about 455 feet.
Yeah. He didn't do much hitting on the road trip, but what he did do was impressive.
The strikeouts certainly were there for Pena. Pastano rocks and fires. Fastball jumps outside. 1-0 the count. This is Friday. And, of course,
my goodness,
455 feet, and then the hitting coach's wide eyes. Stick with the eyes.
That's great.
On 1-0. Willie Mo bouncing ball into center field. That's just the thing with Willie Mo is the solid contact. He's so strong that when he makes contact, it usually gets through the infield. And you wonder what the future will hold for Willie Mo Pena.
Yeah, it just has to be maybe 10 feet away from an infielder. It's going to be a base hit because it just gets through the infield so quickly. So the Baylor, these fans, they keep up, man. I love that. I love that.
Oh, good for you, baseball fans. We love that. These guys appreciate that you follow them when they're on the road like that.
Now the lineup turns over here with Kelly Johnson and company.
That pitch is inside. 1-0 the count. By the way, for Willie Mo Pena in that base hit, he was out. It was hot. There was early BP, and Pena opted for it. He did a lot of hitting out early.
By the way, Darren, that's the very first hit since the first inning
That's exactly
of this
right.
ball game for the Diamondbacks.
Snapped a string of 16 in a row, set down. I don't really think he's going
Looks like
anywhere.
a father-son game over there. Santana standing next to Willie Mo Pena. Bring the kids to the ballpark, folks.
Inside corner from Pastano.
Santana's a good-sized kid. Willie Mo just dwarfs him.
So Travis Hafner had his one shot, the DH. He came up empty. Willie Mo Pena had his shot. He hopes he started a rally. Well, that one is
now
fouled
Kelly
off.
Johnson's in the hole, 1-2.
So Willie Mo Pena standing out there at first base. Just let me throw this at you. In the listings, he is listed at 6'3", 230.
Goodness.
That was junior high.
Yeah.
Travis Hafner asked me, he came up and was asking about Pena. He said, now, I'm 255, said Travis Hafner. What about Willie Mo? And I said, if you're 255, he's an
470.
He's an in-shape 270.
Yeah, easy.
Kelly hacks at that one, pops it foul, and it bounces up and into the seats.
You can see Vinny Pastano has a good cut on his fastball, running in on the hands of the left-handed hitters and running away from the right-handers.
These guys, you know, talk about those arm angles and the strike throwers. And the 1-2. Kelly's hanging around. Vinny Pastano, Tommy John surgery while pitching at Cal State Fullerton in 2006. He was a 20th round draft pick. Talk about SIP, 24th round pick. This young man, 20th round pick. The 1-2. Kelly putting a good at bat on him. Couldn't get the bunts down. Now he's got to use his swing to reach.
You'd love somehow, some way for Kelly Johnson, at worst, at the end of his at-bat, Willie Mo Pena be standing on second base. You'd love it with a base hit, but even a productive out would be nice once you don't get that sacrifice bunt down. The battle rages on. Double barrel action down the Diamondbacks bullpen.
J.J. Putz warms, and he does so if, in fact, Arizona, that's the optimistic warm-up, if Arizona grabs the lead, or maybe ties it.
Not quite possibly.
That is a move that a home manager can employ. J.J. with a couple of days off. Pitch is low, 2-2 the count. How do you take that pitch?
Well, that was an off-speed pitch, the slider. And I think Kelly Johnson was just so doggone fooled that he's just frozen. Unfortunately, when you do that, Darren, you just look back, please be a ball, please be a ball. And it is. Ball 2. Just bullying him inside with those cut fastballs.
He's going to 10 pitches now in this at bat after failing to bunt twice, trying to gain some momentum. Kelly's walked twice. He scored in the first inning. The walks, you hope, are an indicator of another hot streak. Got 31 runs batted in. He's got 12 home runs.
Ball 3.
3-2.
That one ran right under the chin of Kelly Johnson. Now it's decision time for Kirk Gibson. Do you let the big fella at first base? Are you off to the races? Kelly Johnson, a high strikeout guy this year. One of the highest in baseball.
91 times Johnson has struck out this season.
But also you try to stay out of a double play. I think you just let the big man stay right there and let Kelly Johnson swing it.
He stays put. Kelly drives it into right center field. Toward the gap it goes. It's down. high off that wall. Here comes Willie Moe. Watt Williams is sending him home to the plate. We're tied. What an at-bat by Kelly Johnson.
It's one of the best at-bats we've seen out of any Diamondback this year, folks.
An 11-pitch at-bat, and then this triple.
Down and out over. Kelly Johnson smokes it into the right center gap. Now, you're thinking, don't bounce over the fence. Don't bounce over the fence. What does it do? Bounces right off the top of the fence. That allows Willie Moe Pena to score. That allows Kelly Johnson to scamper to third base. And like you said in your call, Darren, we're tied.
Boy, great point out as Steven looks to drive that run in, and then J.J. Putz will turn it into high gear.
Now the Cleveland Indian infield is in. Nobody out. And the heart of the order coming up is the big fella looking for some oxygen over there in the home dugout.
0-1. Drew waves through that one. 0-2 the count.
Tell you what, when Willie Moe Pena is out with a full head of steam, if you're a catcher, you're hoping there is no play at the plate.
He was just fine picking him up and putting him down.
He was moving. Got to have some contact. Stephen Drew takes the ball. What a great at-bat by Kelly Johnson. My goodness, fouled off so many pitches.
Well, those at-bats inevitably end in failure. When you don't get those two bunts down against a tough reliever, almost always it's a failed at-bat. No question.
Always.
Just flicked it. I mean, that's all he did.
Yeah, right now, if you're Stephen Drew, just like Kelly Johnson was, you're in survival mode. Somehow, some way, you got to put this ball in play. You got to force the Cleveland Indian defense to make a play.
In. 2-2 the count on Drew.
Pastano just bullying Stephen Drew with those cut fastballs inside.
Wonder how Mitch Talbot's feeling right now.
Great point.
The 2-2. Drew hanging around.
Surviving.
Hey, talk about Pastano giving up that hit. He had 2 strikes on Kelly Johnson. This year, Pastano, with men on base, has an opponent's batting average of .098. That's #1 amongst relievers in the American League. The 2-2. Inside, 3-2 the count.
Well, these Diamondbacks are putting some at-bats on the hard-throwing Benny Pastano.
And we've gotten accustomed to never call a game as over, no matter how solid a bullpen is, because they hit better late in games.
Looking for contact here if you're Stephen Drew. Surviving.
He swung because he felt he had to and spoil that, right?
Well, Monson wanted that pitch on the inside corner. He got it on the outside corner. But Stephen Drew's up there surviving right now. He's battling.
Infield in. Go ahead run at third. 3-2. Stephen, hot shot, foul ball.
Boy, back-to-back hitters just putting on a clinic of survival. Kelly Johnson, now Stephen Drew.
Pitch number 10 is coming.
Just willing their way through these at-bats off one of the best relievers in baseball.
Stephen, fly ball, very shallow back up short. Here comes Brantley racing. That won't do it. For some reason, he just fires it toward the plate, and it's cut off, thankfully for Indians fans, by Santana. But Drew comes up empty, so that runner stays at third. You got another shot, though.
Pastano wins that battle. It was a heck of a long battle, but Stephen Drew comes up empty. Pop-up was too shallow, and with nobody out, you're not going to try that one. And now Justin Upton.
Tim Belcher, who was quite a battler and a gamer when he pitched in the big leagues, he's the pitching coach.
Probably going to ask Pastano, what do you want to do? Do you want to walk Justin Upton and set up a double play ball with Chris Young? Or do you want to go after the red-hot Justin Upton with one out? And they'd have to play the infield in as well if you go after Justin Upton. If you walk him and play for a double play, you can move the middle infielders back.
Justin Upton has been on a torrid pace since Houston and a day off and a meeting with his manager and his hitting coach. And it's continued. We've just been able to update these numbers daily because there have been hits daily. They're going to put him on. He is 9 of his last 15 with runners in scoring position. And this doesn't surprise you any, does it?
Not at all. And that's I don't think it's being disrespectful to Chris Young at all by Manny Acta. I think right there it's just, I want to move my infielders back possibly. And I also understand that Justin Upton is one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. And it's kind of like picking your poison.
But can you, if you're young, manufacture that it's disrespect to you?
Oh, sure you can.
That's what I thought.
Absolutely. If I'm Chris Young right now, I'm like, I'm thinking, I cannot believe they're going to walk this guy to get to me. That's going to cost you.
Young crouched down by the on-deck circle, getting ready for his at-bat. He's got the huge run at third. That run at first would be nice. But the gold is right there on that third base bag.
Right.
And we told you a moment ago how Pastano has not given up anything with runners on.
Nothing.
Kelly Johnson, statistically a miracle, especially coming back from an 0-2 count. Or a 2-strike count. Here are the numbers for Young. 4-4 is the score. Defense backs up in the middle, as you said.
And we're going to have more meetings. Now, mind you, Justin Upton with great speed. He might be off to the races here, trying to steal a base and take him out of the double play situation. So Pastano better make sure he gets the ball to home plate rather quickly, or there will be no double play.
Justin's got 14 bags over there at first.
Pitching
what
out.
Happened there? Pitch out. He never came up.
Well, that was a pitch out that the pitcher didn't get. He just threw a pitch outside, and fortunately, Lou Marson was okay with it.
That could have sailed to the backstop. All right, 1-0 the count on Young. A lot of space in right center field, otherwise infield straight up. Good pitch, taken low. 2-0 the count. Johnson, while all this is going on, has been tap dancing a bit down that third base line, doing everything he can to get in the head of Pastano. Vincent William Pastano, Southern California born and raised, facing a Texan in Chris Young. A little bluff, and there's Kelly. I'm telling you, Kelly just dancing around anything to maybe scramble up that head of the pitcher.
Yeah, if you're Vinny Pastano right now, you're thinking about the guy in the box, and that's Chris Young.
And time is called as it drags on a little bit more. 19 opportunities to earn a double play this year by Pastano. 2 have been rolled up. He's more of a fly ball pitcher.
Oh, boy, Chris Young got a really good pitch, and he fouled it straight back. Oh, boy, those are ones you have nightmares about when you miss those. Watch this one, folks. Oh, baby. You think that one split the plate?
Fox Tracks had it right in the middle of that square. Remember that as the at-bat goes on. Let's hope he can shake that off.
You don't get too many of those. You don't get too many of those in a season.
2-2. The count. He goes right back to his wickedness. 2-2.
Reared back and threw that one right by him.
Big hits late, they have been the norm. He's got 42 runs batted in. He's scored 51 runs, Chris Young.
Just trying to put the ball in play somehow, some way. With his speed, you'd have to turn it awfully quick on a ground ball.
Got it.
And look back at that 2-0 pitch, folks. Here we go. Ball one. Ball two down. This is the pitch that he misses. That's the one. That's the game winner. Now you go back to the outside corner, no chance. The outside corner, no chance. Chris Young, looking back on it, is going to really rue that 2-0 fastball down the middle that he just could not put in play. And Pastano got a couple of huge outs off of two very good hitters, Stephen Drew and Chris Young.
Rafael Perez cuts out of the bullpen. Pastano, who expects perfection, is pretty upset with himself.
But be the first to catch phenom Bryce Harper. And the Stars of tomorrow take the field for the XM All-Star Futures game at Taco Bell All-Star Sunday, July 10th at Chase Field. Tickets are available at allstargame.com.
So a tough left-hander. Rafael Perez takes the baseball and goes to work. A 1.14 ERA. He has been nasty. Miguel's timely hits have been regular. He needs one right there. There's your golden run, is at third. Miguel, 14 of his last 34, a 4-12 clip with runners in scoring position. So away we go. A very tough lefty against a man who has had a tough go of it against southpaws since late April. Breaking ball, strike one.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful slider to the outside corner. They got anybody normal in that bullpen?
I don't think so.
Like somebody with a 3 ERA?
I think there is someone with a 3, but it's about as high as it goes. The 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2 the count. Miguel 4 hits in his last 36 at-bats against left-handed pitching. That's a 111 clip.
Those old Cleveland teams during interleague play when I was with the Cubs, they had all those stars we've talked about, Albert Bell, Manny Ramirez, and on and on. I'd look over at Sean Dunston's shortstop and say, Sean, they got anybody like us?
0-2 the count. Runner moves up in Upton. So now that this game is tied up, taking a peek out of the bullpen, it looks like Kirk Gibson is going to go ahead and use his closer if the Diamondbacks do not grab the lead. Because he's alone getting ready now. These fans here would much love for him to come on at 5-4.
Absolutely. Kelly Johnson been standing over there at third base for too long. Needs to score.
Swing and a miss, but Kelly Johnson's at bat is the difference in this ball game. He put himself in a hole. He couldn't get a bunt down. And then on pitch number 11, he tripled. He tied it. We're tied at 4. The Arizona closer's coming on. J.J. Putz goes to work. And this young man making his major league debut tonight as our APS Energy All-Star, deservedly so. It was a single, it was a double, it was an RBI. He played a fine third base, and he hopes this is just the beginning of a long journey. Young man out of junior college in North Carolina. Didn't sleep last night, got here at about 9 a.m. this morning. And in about 114-degree weather, took early batting practice with the roof open here at Chase Field. The closer, J.J. Putz, is on. He rolled through the road trip, working 3 consecutive days on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The workload heavy enough that he needed both Saturday and Sunday off, and we learned yesterday how important he is at the back end of ball games.
Especially for the 8th inning. And who pitches it?
It all seems to work much better when you know who has the 9th. And this is the old home manager, go for broke. You run your closer out there, look for a 0, and go for the win in the bottom of the 9th.
Exactly right. 1 inning is all it takes. That's all it'll be for JJ. The bottom of the order for the Cleveland Indians is who he's got to face, but what so far is an impressive debut for young Lonnie Chisenhall. A couple of hits tonight. Played a flawless third base so far. Very impressive.
Puts his last 3 outings, those 3 consecutive appearances were all saves. They were all on the road in Kansas City and Detroit. Fly ball center. Off the end of the bat has Young breaking back. Then coming in, and Chisenhall is the first out. And now Lou Marson. The balls can get dry, and the baseballs, JJ looking to rub it up. Get a little tack on the ball. It's when it's dry out here to get tack on the ball, meaning just kind of a stickiness. You can throw that split-fingered fastball. They usually get rubbed up for the game. But in the desert, oh boy.
Man.
Let's hope he's all right. Home plate umpire Tim Welke.
But he's been around a long time. He's taken a lot of shots just like this. Want to umpire, folks?
Oh, Tim.
Golly. That's a newfangled mass that actually got some shock absorber to it. Right in that area there as he moves.
Well, you can see that, the
right
silver.
there.
Good catch there. You're right. It's got a little more give. Puts with the fastball, the split-fingered fastball, and the slider. Beat him. And that one is 0-2 now, the count. JJ stayed at his childhood home in Trenton, Michigan, while the team was in Detroit playing the Tigers. Day number 1 before he locked down a save, he got ready for the game with mom's pancakes for breakfast.
Really?
Right there at home. Loves going back home and is.
Come on out to Arizona and make him some pancakes, Mom.
The 0-2. Outside. Good call. 1-2 the count.
That big boy needs pancakes.
4-4 is our score.
So we'll start the fun to get Mrs. Puts out here to Arizona. Get that boy some flapjacks.
The 1-2. Fly ball right. Marson. Justin Upton is there, and he puts it away. The big Michigan Wolverine, who has been integral in kind of a bullpen fraternity, not just a bullpen. You don't just pitch for the Diamondbacks bullpen. There's bullpen workouts that are early in the day where you stay unified. There are bullpen outings. There are behind the scenes. Well, can't really describe what goes on, but behind the scenes, good luck rituals. He's behind all of it. The good, the team building, and at times, as we all know in any group, the weird. But it all builds unity.
Well, he's a reliever, of course.
It all builds unity. He is so much about unity and team. One and 0 the count on the veteran Orlando Cabrera. High drive, deep left field, heading into the triangle. Cabrera did it.
Wow. He went with a slider on 1-0, his third best pitch. And the veteran Cabrera hits his 4th home run of the year, way out of here, over the corner in left field. Boy, that one will leave a mark. 2 quick outs, a hanging slider. And in his first at bat of the evening, Cabrera rips it out of here and rips the hearts out of the Diamondbacks right there.
His 4th home run of the year was with Cincinnati last year. Minnesota the year before that. Oakland, the White Sox, the Angels. He's been on a lot of postseason teams, so he doesn't play the role as a star or a starter anymore.
Well, the strange thing about that is the Diamondbacks just had all the advantage because going to the bullpen in the 6th inning, I mean, Manny Acta was nearly out of pitching if you go into extra innings. The Diamondbacks, with Ian Kennedy going 8, they got a boatload of guys for extra innings. And J.J. Puts coming in a tie game. Gives up a 2-out long ball. And the closer is ready now in Chris Perez.
Split-fingered fastball, 1-2 the count. Cabrera, the postseason with Boston in 04, the Angels in 05, Angels in 07, the White Sox in 08, Minnesota in 09, and the Reds last year. And part of this improbable story, much like the one we see in Arizona, the one in Cleveland. Into the dirt. 2-2 the count. So let's see. Ryan Roberts, Willie Bloomquist, Xavier Nady, to name a few. They are waiting now, and they have the responsibility of trying to get things going against Chris Perez. In the bottom half of the 9th inning. Two and two the count. Perez, by the way, as that young man continues to get his feet wet in the big leagues. Lonnie Chisenhall has locked down 12 in a row. The 2-2. Over the top, got him with a split-fingered fastball, but in the end, the veteran Orlando Cabrera got the Diamondbacks. Roberts, Bloomquist, and Nady. You need one. Feels that more than anyone else, but being a team guy, he will now look to his teammates to step up for him and pick him up. Coming on in a tie ball game, Manny Acta is going to bring his closer on, who he knew he was going to use, but the closer must not have been ready.
He must not have been ready. A 2-out long ball, because Chris Perez was not up. We're going to start the fun to get Mrs. Puts out here in Arizona to make him some pancakes.
to work. He is 18 of 19 with a 2.5 this year. 20 strikeouts in 28 1/3 innings. And he has saved 12 consecutive ball games. In the first pitch to Ryan Roberts just off the plate.
Hard throwing 3/4 arm slot. Chris Perez as Jack Hanahan takes over at third base.
Manny Acta told Lonnie Chisenhall before the game today, I will make this move if we're ahead. It's not about you. Roberts, high fly ball to the left center field. It's down for a base hit. So the Diamondbacks trying to pick up their teammate in J.J. Putz and pick up their team overall, trailing at 5-4.
Well, Ryan Roberts just seems to get more big hits for these Diamondbacks. He got a huge hit yesterday in Detroit to give his team the lead. Leading off ninth innings when you're down by a run is always a big hit. Grady Sizemore, you see just how far he was playing to the opposite field. That allows that. I guess that was kind of a line drive, a little bit of a hump to it, wouldn't you say? It had
kind
some
of
hang time.
A jam shot line drive, you bet. Bloomquist bunting first base line. Perez off the mound.
Beautiful ball.
Flips it on in time. So the Diamondbacks playing for the tie. Move that runner on up. Get him into scoring position. And they do so in front of Xavier Nady.
I'm a big believer in bunting to win the game. But bunting to tie, boy, that's a lot to ask.
Here's Xavier Nady. A lot of room in right center field. Pops it up that way, but it hangs up in right field. There to make the play is Travis Buck. And so 2 outs.
Well, a leadoff base hit and then 2 outs on 2 pitches. And you know, with that bunt, you've got the bottom of the order. 2 guys that haven't been in the game, that weren't in the starting lineup, trying to get that game tying base hit. And ex-Nady, and now you're up to Melvin Mora.
Mora was supposed to be in the starting lineup yesterday, was unable to go. Some back problems, some discomfort. Has 16 RBIs, does Melvin Mora. And was out in that group taking extra BP earlier today. On the corner, 0-1 the count. Mora in the month of June is 3 of 24 for a 125 clip. So he is scuffling to get it going. That would be long forgotten for the moment if he would dump one into right center field, which, by the way, is where they're playing him. They're playing him to hit it out there into right center. 0-2 the count. Mora, high fly right field. Perez locks the ball game down. Orlando Cabrera with a huge home run in a tie ball game in the top of the 9th gives the Indians the win in game 1 of this series, 5-4. The bold move by manager Manny Acta to go to his bullpen after his starting pitcher was rolling and had given him 5 in the end, in a unique way, pays off. So the Diamondbacks drop another half game as they look to get back on track against these Cleveland Indians and do so tomorrow. High fives for the Cleveland guys as they go up and down that line. We got to talk about it in the post-game show. I know Jody and Joe are standing by. Gracie and I will be back with some more thoughts. It's brought to you by CenturyLink. Stay with us. A lot to talk about after the commercial.